I go to Sac State. I'm in the history program. I love vintage, I love fashion, and I obviously love history. My style definitely leans towards being more punk, but also kind of grungy, with a little bit of girly mix into it. I definitely think of like Sid Vicious and like Debbie Harry. Definitely Debbie Harry, she's gorgeous. For my style. Someone who's really influenced me is definitely Frank Sinatra. He epitomizes like the Italian American back in the day. He's just so classic. His music, his style. There's this picture of him coming out of a helicopter with his fedora on, this like badass suit, and a fucking drink of whiskey in his hand. It's like the coolest thing I've ever seen. So the earliest I can remember really loving vintage things and just having an affinity for old media was basically when I was like 6 or 7. I was watching Some Like It Hot, starring Marilyn Monroe with my mom, and I fell in love with black and white movies. And just knowing that, you know, Courage the Cowardly Dog and cartoons like that were playing, and I liked them, but I really just had this passion for old movies. It was just kind of, I knew it. I knew that I loved it, and I don't know why I'm so sentimental for something I've never even experienced. So currently I'm reading Diana Gabaldon, who writes historical fiction taking place in Scotland. And not only am I Scottish, but I actually really, really love Scottish history, and she's so factual with everything that it's really nice to read. And so sometimes when I am reading certain books, I get really into them, and so that's why I'm wearing this. This is a vintage piece. It was actually made in Canada, but it's actually really similar to the McKenzie tartan, which is my family clan. So I don't always buy vintage. I actually go to the Goodwill a lot, and I buy a variety. That's why it's like my boots aren't vintage, obviously. Neither is my shirt, but the skirt is. And I kind of like the old and new mixture. Like, I know I have piercings, and that was not the idea of beauty back then. You know, it's just kind of becoming that. And my purple eyebrows, obviously, that was not popular back in the day. But I do love that mixture. And I also just like to go to the Goodwill to shop ethically. Like, I don't shop at Target anymore. And I did at a time, but I did make the decision not to. Because they use sweatshops. I don't shop for Nike. Like, I don't do any of that. I'm repurposing basically everything I use, which is better than buying like a shitty fucking material. And shoes and your clothing, like it's also just bad for you. The polyester and stuff, it's not good for you. People don't want to, other than the fear of like being yourself, but it is your room. Like, decorate it how you want. And I love vintage. Like, I have those Scientific American posters. Those are all from early 20th century, and I think they're really cool. And I also have this that I actually found at my grandpa's house after he died, and it's I think it was an insert in a record, but like it has these really cool images. Yeah, these really cool images and lyrics by multiple people just throughout. I love that one too. Yeah, it's sentimental because it was my grandpa's, but it's also just really cool. I love records. Like, everything about this, it's special to me. So I grew up in Eureka, which is a really small town, really isolated, and I really just felt like I couldn't be myself there. I didn't think about fashion. I dressed so frumpy. I really wasn't happy there. And then I moved here and discovered Frank Sinatra as well. I feel like I really blossomed as a person and came into myself, and I really just don't care what anyone thinks, and I feel so good about myself just for that.